everyone. Welcome to a new episode of JKL Media Reviews, where we are talking about The Expanse. And this is the 11th episode of the third season, and it's called Fallen World. It was supposed to be called Objects in Motion, but they changed it. I would have liked to see it be called Objects in Motion, but
I would like it called Objects at Rest.
yeah, they definitely stay at rest, right?
Yeah.
So I'm here, as you heard, with my good friend Lou. Hi, Lou.
Hello, everyone.
And with Jesse, who's also my good friend.
Hello, everyone.
And we're gonna talk about this. I think it's gonna be a little weird, so I hope you guys stick with me. I My brain works in very strange ways. And this morning I just kept going over, how am I going to talk about this? How am I going to talk about this? So let's see how this works. First of all, I want to get your quick thoughts on the episode. I'll start with you, Jesse.
I liked this one better than the one before, mostly because there was more character. This just seemed it was character driven, especially a couple of scenes that were specifically just lovely. So, yeah, I'm excited. I have questions that when we get to this, I'll be asking, but for now, yeah, I'm pretty happy.
Okay. And Lou?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this episode. I think that when I made my prognostications about which characters you two would like, I think that for Karen, this is probably the pinnacle of drummer's badassery, which continues in the next couple of episodes. So I'm looking forward to seeing how you like her. She was great before, but I think this is where she really hits her stride. And even Bobby, she's got a good role in this one as well. Just some really cool stuff going on in this episode, and a tip of the hat to the special effects department for all the zero G stuff that they filmed. Really cool.
Agreed. So I'm going to introduce the fact that we have a common thread through all these scenes, and it is the fact that the speed limit has changed and they've all been stopped. And the effect of the stop is weighing on each of the ships, each of the
Or not weighing.
contingencies. Exactly.
Inertia is a bitch.
So,
Yeah.
here's my
Yeah.
question.
Okay.
I don't understand the speed limit storyline,
Okay.
nor why the change of it. Is it, I assume, because it would made them slow down?
They stopped.
Yeah, I don't understand this.
Okay.
Could
So
someone
that's
explain?
that's what I want to talk about is the fact that all the ships have been, yeah, I'm going to go to you, that all the ships have been stopped in midair. I understand it, but I also want to talk to Lou about this whole mechanic. So Lou, let's go to you.
Okay, so when exactly in that last episode did this slowdown happen?
Near the end,
And
right?
was there nothing that you think precipitated
Well,
that?
yeah, it was that the protomolecule was being attacked, right?
Right.
Okay.
By the soldier who threw the grenade.
Yeah,
That was
Oh,
but
disassembled, right? Or no, he was the other
yes.
soldier,
Yeah,
right?
he was
Okay.
disassembled. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So this is a defensive reaction to that attack and has this field in place to begin with to prevent incursions, but now it's just simply strengthened it because it was attacked. So that's what that's all about.
Okay. So it's making it so the things that are attacking it are less effective against
is
it.
that what it's supposed to, is that what it's say? Is that what it's supposed to do?
Supposed to
Yeah,
do?
that,
Who knows?
yeah,
It's
I
a,
mean,
it's
I know,
but that's its defensive
yeah,
mechanism.
yeah, because like I said, this doesn't make, I don't understand what, one, I don't understand how it's doing this. Two, I don't get the rules involved on this. It's just very confusing. It feels very
Well,
much like Techobabo.
my thought is
Yeah,
that I know I've said this, but I think that the protomolecule doesn't have rules. It can make its own rules. So these things don't fall into a certain category like the effects of inertia are the effects of inertia on Earth. There's no changing that. I
Okay.
think the protomolecule within that ring can do whatever it wants, right? At least I think that's the takeaway from that is that
within the bubble that they're in. Yep.
inside the ring, right? So yeah, I don't feel like we need to abide by a certain rule set, unlike time travel and stuff like that. This is just it can make its own rules. It can change things as far as it can.
Yeah.
And
Best way to think of it might be, and this is a simplification, but it might be like a cell. And if it's under attack, it's going to increase its outer shield, the outer walls, in order to try to prevent the attack from penetrating it further. So it's kind of like that. Or you might think of it like osmosis, where water passes through the membrane into the cell and it becomes either bloated, or if it exhales the water, it becomes smaller and tighter. And I think that's the same reaction that
the
this
concept, at least.
the
Yeah.
concept of what the bubble that they're in is what the protomolecule is doing. Like, and
Okay.
as you said, it has control over the rules while everybody's inside the bubble. Whereas if they get outside of it back into normal space, then normal physical laws apply. Though the problem is that inside each ship, normal laws still do apply. The protomolecule were to totally penetrate the hulls of the ships and go through every deck and absorb the spaceship if you want. But it's only grabbed them, like you can see in all the ships that are on one side. There's like that purple band of energy that's holding them or slowing them down. But inside, natural laws still work. So that's why everybody was flung against bulkheads and whatnot.
And they reminded us of that in the last episode
Yep.
with that captain saying,
Yeah.
"Hey, I wonder if," and I thought that was pretty effective
Yeah,
that they
and that goes
reminded
right
us
back
of
to
that.
the guy in the skimmer who went through the
Yep.
thing at full speed, and he was squashed like a bug because of inertia.
Mateo, was that
Yeah,
his name?
yeah.
Mateo. Um, so yeah,
Does that
I
help, Jesse? I
likened
don't
it.
know if I.
No,
Oh.
it doesn't help at all. This just doesn't make any sense. There's no just saying it's magic and they're trying to,
It's not magic. They're inside a bubble, and that bubble is controlled by the protomolecule.
and the protomolecule can do anything it wants, so therefore
Right.
magic.
Any technology that we don't understand is magic, right?
Magic.
Thank you, Dr.
Our
Clark.
character Clark.
It doesn't it I think what's bothering me is the whole speed limit thing. Instead of just it froze us versus we
You know
changed
that
how fast it can move. That just is it doesn't work for me.
that
I,
happened several times in Star Trek universe, right? Where they went into a zone where time and space was changed, so they moved slower or time went slower, and we just got to kind of, okay, I get it. We kind of, and the thing that happened in my brain is like when someone's coming at you, like your brother's coming at you or whatever, and you put your hand on their forehead and they kind of windmill, that cartoony kind of
yeah.
thing. That's the vision I got in my head is that purple thing is the hand that's on your forehead. And they got stopped, but their hands are still windmilling. And
Yeah.
so anyway,
So
that's
what I my thought is every time they started talking about this, I was Charlie Brown and they were the teacher.
womp
Yeah,
womp.
it did take away from the show.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that I just this I don't get this. I don't and when I just keep having to say it's the MacGuffin Jesse move on. It's the MacGuffin Jesse move on. But
But saying that, just saying that can take you out of it. So I
Absolutely.
get
yes.
it.
Yeah. It's
I
it's
do
a
Yes.
get it.
space warp bubble. I don't know what else to tell you.
Yeah. So anyway, I don't understand it any better now that you guys said because you guys sound like Charlie Brown's teachers. It just it and like
It's
can how
technobabble.
understand, you know,
Who's she?
yeah, I just
Bobby.
suspected that the speed limit moved.
Yeah,
What
we'll
do you
talk
mean
about that.
speed limit? What do
You're,
you mean speed
you're
limit?
getting
How do you know
ahead.
it's a speed limit? It just,
Yeah,
yeah, the more I think about it, the more irritated it makes me. And
you're
and
getting a little ahead here.
and I just want the characters to be doing stuff, and this just Yeah, I don't care for it. All right,
Okay, so
moving on.
let's talk about that timeline. It's not the timeline I was going to go into, but you mentioned Bobby and her
Okay.
getting
Well,
the fact that
I didn't mean to play the show. Okay.
I'm okay with that. This is the contingency that was in my head. They're going to bring up something first.
Okay.
We'll talk about Bobby Holden and her minions. First of all, those two people that are in her crew, I'm not a fan. They're both really irritating to me.
Yeah,
And
and
I,
I
go
to
ahead.
d defend them, I think they are thinking more like me. Very straight. This guy's bad. The lieutenant killed. Everyone says Holden is a jackass. Well, let's just be done with this guy and move
Right.
on.
But that makes them dumb, right? Because they don't understand the nuance of what happened there at
Yeah,
all,
fair enough. Yes.
at least to me. And the fact that they are borderline on the edge of disobeying Bobby, they are
Yeah.
very much disrespecting her. And you also, through their eyes, see how much she's changed because she
Mhm.
used to be very much like them,
Yeah.
right? And so the dynamic on their little transport ship, I thought was it might have been the most infuriating to me. They would have been fine with shooting him, but she
Mhm.
reminds them that, hey, we've been ordered to take him back. And all of a sudden they're like, okay, whatever. When their whole thing is following orders, but yet they're okay with breaking them
Yeah.
if it's what they want, right? So where you're bothered by the time bubble kind of thing or the speed
Yeah.
bubble thing, that's where I'm bothered is these
Sure.
two dudes that really just get on my nerves, on my last nerve.
Got you.
And my first thought was, how is Bobby extrapolating that the speed limit has changed? That was something that puzzled me. I'll talk to you, Jesse, and then maybe Lou can illuminate that a little bit.
Yeah, I have no idea how she figured out. She said it's magic, right? They threw that. I'm okay. I think we got to change. I did not see the science, did not see how she figured that out. Often, when you watch a detective show, the best is when you figure out what's going on 2 seconds before they reveal it. Then you're like, good, I figured this out. Other times you go, oh man, I had no idea where this was, had no wow, they blew me away. And in this
And
case,
sometimes that's a good thing.
yeah, it is.
Yeah.
In this case,
But
I had no idea how
not in
she
this
figured
case.
this out. Oh, no, Bobby can do no wrong for me, right?
Sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
she's
so
great. And it shows that she's really smart, smarter than the two people that are with
yeah,
her.
yeah,
But I was like, okay, how did she come to that conclusion? So
yeah.
let's talk to Lou about that and see if he has any insight.
The bullets.
Yeah, I understand that, but how would you equate that to the speed limit? To me, if I was there, I would say the protomolecule is stopping them in midair from, it would be like the
But
Matrix for me.
how has it been stopping things?
But to me, it doesn't translate to anything else. Just right there, if I was Bobby, and I'm not talking about the fact that we understand what's happening or whatever. I'm
Hmm.
talking about if we were Bobby and saw the bullet stop, what she knows about the protomolecule, that to me, I was like, okay, where is she getting that? And yeah, the whole concept, I get it. The protomolecule has done this to everything, right?
Yep.
It's a speed limit thing.
Yep.
But how does Bobby get that just from the bullets? And again, I'm okay with hand waving it because it keeps them alive, right? But I was like, okay, how did she figure it out? And then when I'm watching it with Sean, I'm like, okay, whatever. I'm good. They're alive still. So yeah, is it just that we're hand waving it because Bobby's really smart in that moment?
I guess if you're not buying the whole concept of the protomolecule being able to control the laws of physics within the space bubble, if you want to hand wave it, but she knows that the ships were able to go a certain speed limit and the bullets don't travel as fast as ships. So when the pro molecule stops the bullet, that must mean that it's lowered the speed limit more because bullets don't go as fast as spaceships. And the only way that the pro molecule have done that was to slow down the speed limit more. So she just
Okay.
kind of put two and two together. Maybe you don't think she's capable of doing that, but
No, it's not
I
capable.
buy it. But
It's what her knowledge is up to
yeah,
that point.
yeah,
Because I can't make a determination about something with the Hubble telescope because I
sure.
don't have any knowledge of what's going on there. And I
Hmm.
feel like that's where she is. She's only had that knowledge of that one protomolecule being.
But
And
she's been
so
transiting from the Martian ship to the planet
nucleus,
the
is
whole
that okay?
time that they're stuck at this speed limit.
Okay.
Has
That's
that been established? That we
Yeah,
can't go
well,
she's
any
down there.
faster?
yeah.
Yeah,
No,
yeah,
it's
they all
Yeah,
know
because they
established.
that.
sent probes. They tried to send probes in and they all were wiped
Yeah,
out, destroyed.
they did
Okay,
tests.
but see, that means once again, it's destroyed. It isn't slowed down to that one speed, right?
Yeah,
No,
that's
but
because of
it's
the
the same.
speed
It
limit.
yeah, because it broke the speed limit, therefore it got destroyed.
And in the other cases, the protomolecule is actually changing that, right? It was a set speed limit
Hmm.
before.
Yeah,
And now that this thing has happened, it has now reduced that speed limit. So
right.
this is due to the protomolecule
Yes.
changing it.
Yep.
Okay.
Before, it was just a set speed. Now it's a set speed, but they've changed that set speed. At least
Okay.
am I making sense at all?
No, I think you're trying to make
You are
sense of something
to
that
me,
doesn't make
but
sense
Okay.
because the idea, okay, then just this, you're anything that goes in the center is destroyed.
No,
no, it has to
if
go
it
past
goes
the speed
over a
limit.
certain
Speed
speed
limit.
limit,
Yeah, then
Mhm.
it's
it's
destroyed,
destroyed.
like the probes.
So,
Like
So
the original dude.
none of the ships
yeah,
that went in started.
I was going to say the original Dune. They talked about that those shields, you if you it stops fast things, not slow things. Yeah, but
Right.
I
The
don't.
shields are different though.
Yeah,
Before it would just destroy whatever it is because that was a set speed limit. Now,
yeah,
changing the speed limit has not destroyed the things. I think that the nucleus wants those ships to continue. So it doesn't destroy them, it just stops them. It says, no, come at me, but at my pace.
Mhm.
yeah.
It
I just think this is it.
it's
It.
weird.
Yeah, I just don't think it's to me, and I've never won an Emmy. I've never gotten a story published. I have nothing. I think it's bad storytelling. I
Okay.
don't get it. I don't understand it. I don't like it.
Okay.
One of the things I've said, I did not want this series to be about proto-molecules, and it has been all of a sudden lately. That's all it's about, and I don't care about that. And so it just it is the it has become the Doctor's sonic screwdriver that people who don't like Doctor Who. It's just a convenient thing. Anything we need to do, it does. And that's, I don't care for that.
Okay.
So let's
I
move
get
on to
it.
the characters.
Yeah, let's do that. Although we are going to talk about that again
Yeah, that's fine.
a little bit. Okay.
Okay.
And I guess we just have to say this is what's happening in the show. So here's where it's going. So yeah, I love that Bobby is protective of Holden
Yeah, I
while
do too.
still following orders. I like that. And like I said, I don't like those two characters. So let's talk about those three characters, Bobby and her underlings. Lou, what did you?
I think what's really interesting about the dynamic between them is that if Bobby had not met the crew of the Rocinante and spent some time with them, she'd probably be behaving exactly as they are. And she
Right.
would have, because we've seen her, but she was very anti-Earth until she actually had to go to Earth and meet Christian. So it's a good bookmark of the progression of the Bobby character, where she's been and where she is now. And it's also putting her in a tough position because the other two characters don't agree with her, and they think that she's become, for lack of a better word, contaminated.
Got it. I do think she's enough of a badass that she's not going to take their shit, right?
Yep.
Because we've seen that before.
Yeah,
That she just
I'm not sure because the one guy kept addressing her as Gunner. I don't know if that's a rank.
gunny. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not a. He wasn't calling her by her rank. He didn't say yes, Lieutenant.
Yeah.
He just kept saying
I
yes,
think
Gunner.
that's just her nickname.
Yeah. So but if she's in command, then they should have been addressing her by her rank, not by her name.
One of the things that bothers me is that they're very disrespectful of her.
Yes.
And I find them so unlikable, and I hope they're not here very long. How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I think it shows the difference of I I'll get a little political here. I apologize.
Take a drink.
Often people are very bigoted till something happens to someone close to them. I just scanned a story that there was a strong, very MAGA Texan whose fiance, who came here legally in 23, got picked up by ICE, and now he was calling them a Gestapo.
Before,
Yeah, a parent who is anti-gay to one of his children's come out, and then they decide, oh, wait.
or
Yeah,
a pro-lifer whose wife is suddenly in danger because
yeah,
of
Wait,
being pregnant
wait
or
until the
whatever.
people
Yeah.
that are on was it Obamacare lose that?
Oh,
And is
that's
it?
already
yeah,
happened.
No, it
yeah,
ACA,
doesn't
yeah.
happen after till the
No, but
midterms, right?
they've already decided, oh my God, I'm going to lose my. They already know that this is going to happen, and they're very upset
yeah,
about it.
There's some people have, but I think a lot of them don't realize that it's going to happen after the midterms.
Yeah.
yeah. I don't have to worry about Obamacare because I have,
Private,
yeah,
Yeah.
or no, what's the other
pub,
word for
public.
the, yeah, there's another word for the ACA or whatever. And because I actually heard someone say that, I don't need to worry about if they get rid of Obamacare, but that's okay because I'm going through the
I have
portal.
ACA,
Yeah, I have ACA health
and it's
insurance.
the
And so,
same thing.
yeah, it is. Yeah, so I have a little more empathy to them because they haven't gone through this, that they don't understand. All they're seeing is their very narrow view. And we talk a lot about Marines have that concept historically of I can't screw it, eat it, or fight it. And so I have a little bit of empathy for them, but I do agree, and to their credit, they are following the chain of command so far.
So far, yeah.
Yeah, so far they are tending to, they don't agree with Bobby, but they are, at least for now, sticking to it.
Yeah, they're so irritating to me.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
So there's that storyline. Anything else with them? Are we good?
No, yeah, it was
Okay.
good.
Yep.
What another thing that bothers me, and this is just me, you can't bring a flatlined person back to life with paddles. All the paddles do is normalize a heartbeat that is
Yeah,
out of sync.
that's a TV,
It happens
unfortunately.
everywhere, and every
Yeah,
time I see it, I
Yeah,
think to myself, why are they doing that? It doesn't work. Why didn't they just make his rhythm out of sync and,
yeah,
whatever.
yeah. It's just the same thing with bombs cutting the wire. Like
Right at
you just gotta
zero
say,
or at
okay,
one
yeah,
second.
at
Yeah.
1 second before it goes off, I just go, okay,
Right.
yeah,
And
yep,
I just wanted to mention that because
yep,
it
yep,
takes
fair
me out
point.
yeah,
of it.
Yep. Bothers me more than the bubble.
yeah.
Yeah, it does. It does me too.
I guess that I am now
It's
so
ribbing you,
this
Jesse.
I'm so used to that trope. I actually do like,
Yeah.
oh, of course,
I waved it off, but
you
my
do
husband and I
the
turned,
electric shock restarts the heart, you know?
yeah, my husband and I turned to each other and we were like, oh, that's so bad.
Yeah.
So, yeah, okay. So let's move on. I want to talk about Ashford and Drummer. Sounds like a band.
Yeah, it does.
It does. Um,
That sounds like a great band. I'd
it
go
does.
see Ashford and Drummer.
Ashford and the Drummer. I love Drummer. I have since almost the very beginning when she was sparring with Naomi. I think that these scenes very tropey of the enemies that have to spend time together and they come to a somewhat common ground, a little bit of a truce. I think that their conversations were very cool. It really did show their mentalities and it was very in keeping with what we know of each character. And also the fact that Drummer is quote unquote sacrificing herself to save one of them. She can pull the trigger, so she does. And then also, let's leave what happens after that incident
Okay.
till after. So let's just talk about the two of them being stuck there. And I want to talk about what happens afterwards separately.
Okay.
So let's go to you, Jesse.
Best part of the episode by far. By far. You give me this, you can have proto matter and I'll be cup all the time. You give me scenes like this,
Yeah.
I, you know, I've all I have been said from the beginning, I don't know if he's necessarily a bad guy. And I think this showed that he's he is a good officer. His job is to push against Drummer because that's what he is. He's talking about he's a belter. He is someone who believes in the belt, and he thinks it's his duty to point out if he disagrees with her, but ultimately he's loyal. The scenes where they have to try to figure out how to work together, I thought was well written. The suspense of him trying to get the communicator and then it breaks and all that, and her ultimately saying the ship's going to need one of us. And so I'm going to, and he's like, no, do not do this. Do not do this. He talks about his near death experience. They sing a song together. It was really well done. I wonder, as they were filming this, how much he's having to interact without seeing her. She's having to interact without seeing him. I wonder how much of that, because often in film, when the camera is directly on you, the person offline will be reading the lines. They told a great story about on A Few Good Men, Jack Nicholson on the courtroom scenes. He read his dialogue for the other people's close-ups in character with the same intensity so that they could have a good performance, right?
Yep.
Yep.
And I just thought this was two characters that are different, yet we've always loved Drummer, but we talked last week that he was killing it as this character, that
Yeah.
he was a joy, and I think continued on more and more. We'll get to the end later, but I just thought, hey, I hope they later don't decide to have him somehow uncharacteristically betray things. He may end up making a decision that we may not agree with, but I buy that is this commander wants what's best for the ship, his crewmates, and the belt, then the universe, that order. So I loved it, everything about it. I watched the episode twice, and it was delicious.
Okay. I am of a slightly different thought.
Okay.
I wonder if his motivation is that pure. Did he purposely break that hand terminal with the little? Okay, so he didn't.
No, well, you saw the panel burn out, right?
I saw something happen there. I saw a
Yeah.
little bzzz,
Yeah.
and he reacted to it. It just in my mind, I suspect everything that he does. And
Suspicious minds.
again, we're going to talk about what happened after in a minute, but I do suspect him of other stuff. I don't think that he respects her very much at all. I think their conversation maybe softened him a little bit, but he definitely has different opinions. And I see where you're coming from, Jesse. And again, he's killing it. David Strathairn is amazing as Ashford. But in my mind, I'm like, okay, he is going to betray her. I feel like he took over and he has no intention of getting her back. He's in charge now, and if she does come out of this and want to take back over, he's not going to let go. At least that's what's going on in my brain. And I
All
know
right.
Lou's not going to confirm or deny, but go ahead,
All
Jesse.
right. All right. So I'm going to bet you an Amazon delivery of your favorite coffee that he's not going to.
Okay, that he's going to
Yeah,
relinquish control back? Is that
yes,
what you're
I
saying?
think he will.
Okay,
I don't I think he may down the road do something that he will choose another decision, but I don't think he's going to deliberately F her over. You put up nothing, I put up a your favorite
I put
coffee.
up nothing.
Yeah, no,
Uh,
the odds I'm giving you, that's how confident I am.
okay,
And we'll go from there.
I'll
Okay.
take it.
And maybe this goes back to my overly optimistic and sunshine on the House of the Dragon podcast. They call me the maester of all sunshine, happiness, and all things Springsteen.
It's
That's
nice.
why I'm going to go. So there we
Okay,
go.
okay, Lou,
And Lou,
let's
you
talk.
will be the judge.
Yep,
Okay. Interesting conversation and viewpoints. I'm going to throw out just some points that could support for or against Karen's
Okay.
hypothesis. The fact that they traded stories about their
their service is
their
that the
service and the things where they did the stupidest things,
Yeah.
I think that shows a bonding moment. They sang a song together. That's
Yeah.
also a bonding moment. Probably the biggest point for Jesse is that Ashford, decided to risk the ship and start the spin of the
Yeah,
drum.
we're not talking about that yet.
Oh, sorry.
But yeah,
Okay.
no, that's okay. But that's a
Uh,
point in his favor.
so
Okay.
how far are we
Yeah.
going then?
Yeah.
Just their
Because
conversation
Oh,
together
okay.
right
Just
now.
the
so
conversation together.
let's
Okay.
yes, because let's think about right. If he truly wanted to stay commander, the captain, he would not have to risk that because then she would die automatically. Because I thought that was great writing, is they established at the very beginning.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry, we're
Since
going
we're
all over the
talking, no,
place.
no, since we're
But
talking about that,
they
I'm
established that without gravity, wounds don't drain, and
all
even
right.
the smallest wound is fatal.
And he welcomes the people from the other ships
Oh, I
on
wasn't
to
talking about
heal.
that
And
part. I was just talking
no,
about, yeah.
we can go
Okay.
ahead since we've breached that.
Okay.
Sorry.
No, one of the things that I think about is that in previous episodes, we've been told that he is going to act that way because he wants the crew to be loyal to him, that he is going to back her up, at least outwardly, and do things that make him look good in order to keep control. So now let's go to Lou and you can talk about the whole thing with Ashford and Drummer.
Okay, you just remind me of another point that when they were talking about, she was asking him who came up with the idea for the uniforms.
Yep.
And he said that was him because he firmly believes in order to unite the Belters and get the respect of the other parties, they need to show a unified look
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
whatever. She obviously has a different outlook on that. I think she's not really into the symbols and things of that nature. So that's probably the biggest difference between the two characters. She hasn't had his experience, and that's probably the thing that's causes the most tension between them because he's been there for I don't know 20 30 years and she's only been around for 5 or 10 or whatever, so she can't match his experience, but they both have the mental faculties to be leaders. That's the other thing to consider. Now, uh,
And one of the
sorry.
other things I love that she said, I didn't work this hard to look like my enemies.
Everybody else.
Yeah,
And
good
he's
call.
going, but we have to show them that we are now,
United.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
Equals.
yeah, yeah,
And yeah, part of her whole thing was that's our strength is being different from each other,
yeah.
is being individuals. And that's a very solid thing in her head. And he says, yes, but if we want to be respected by them, we need to show them that we can be united. Yeah, I
Hmm.
agree. That's a,
usually I'm on her side, but in this, I think I'm more on his side. I think the
I
idea
understand
that,
it. Yeah.
yeah, if we want to be taken a seat on the table, sometimes you've got to show you can put on a suit and a tie and not disrupt. You can't show up in t-shirts and jeans, right? I mean, part of it, we are a legitimate quote unquote country. We
Yeah.
have a army. We have a elected representatives. We are not just a gang of people. We are an organized union. We are a force. So
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that makes
But I
sense to me.
love that's a legitimate debate. It's
Me
the
too.
kind of stories that why I love this show.
Yeah,
Hmm.
you're rooting for them to all be individuals in a way, right? But you understand what Ashford is
Yes.
saying as well.
Yeah. How can I keep my individuality, but at the same time play the game so that ultimately the Belters get a seat at the table?
Hmm.
Okay, back to you, Lou.
Yeah, that's a
Sorry,
great
we keep
point.
interrupting you. We keep
No,
interrupting you.
That's a great point. And the Belters come across as more individualistic. A lot of them have tattoos. They have the radical haircuts. So they're like hippies in space, guys, bohemians
Yeah.
in space. Its point about them, you have to know you have to be able to read the room. You have to know your enemy, right? So he's right in that aspect, and he's probably gotten that viewpoint because of his experience over the years, whereas drummers had less experience and she's had less dealings with, she's never really been involved in the politics of the thing. Though you think she would have learned a thing from Dawes, but the things that she glommed onto him for are not the things that Ashford has come to experience in his career. So that's an interesting dichotomy. Going forward now, past their conversations and bonding, Drummer makes the big decision to sacrifice herself for the ship, and she deactivates the parking brake or whatever that's keeping her from getting crushed. And I remember watching the previous episode, and when as soon as I saw those machines, I got, oh, here we go. We're
one of
coming up
them's
to
gonna
that
die.
scene, right? So the seeing them wedged between those two machines, and you can read the symbology there, right? Because the farming equipment, it could be the symbol of the difference between the gap between them. But she's willing to take on part of his viewpoint, I guess you could say, by letting that
Sure.
machine roll into her,
There's also
reaching.
symbology of her wanting to change that into a weapon. So it's the farming machine becoming a weapon. So
Yeah,
there's even
turning
that
plowshares
too.
into swords.
Yep.
So I find it whether it was intentional or not, I find it deliciously symbolic that they need to start at the drum to save drummer.
Yeah,
I
it's
thought that
very
was really
cool.
cool. And the other point that I was going to bring against up for Karen's viewpoint is Ashford gets on that bridge and he says, "This is the captain." To say this is the first officer or this is
I
the
did
acting
notice
captain.
that.
Yep.
Yeah.
He
Yes, I
So
did notice
immediately
that.
well, as
takes
soon as he
over.
said that, I'm going,
Hmm.
bonded, but did they really bond? I don't know. I don't know. So we'll
Yeah.
have to see.
Yeah, that was the same thing in my mind. I said, okay, I don't know where he stands at this point,
Yeah.
but he is definitely up for being the captain. He's
Yeah.
ready to take
I
over.
think that was a deliberate dramatic choice
Yeah.
because normally he wouldn't have said it that way. I don't, but they
He
Yeah.
would
decided in
have,
the show to say, okay, we're going to up the uncertainty factor here and have him act like he's the real captain.
as long as
Well,
he's going to save her, he would not take over her position
So there's
in a
sort of
real world.
conflicting
Hmm.
forces at work here.
But as
the only
soon as she can't talk back, I'm the captain now.
so
Okay.
in my mind, and once again, this probably goes to me being very too nice, is what trying to explain acting captain. How about the real captain? Are we going to do when he had to convince people we were wanting to save you.
Yep.
And so by having this just going, not I'm the first officer, just I am a captain. This is my ship. All are welcome is what I thought more of selling the story more than hubris on his part. Now, could be wrong,
Okay.
but in my mind, that's how I
Yeah.
retcon that
That
is
And I go
that,
between the two. I
yeah.
really do.
yeah,
It
I
could
do
be
agree with
that. It
that.
could be.
That's within his character to present
yeah,
the strong front to the other parties that
yeah,
I'm in charge here and we're making this offer to you. Because like you said,
yeah,
if you start talking about I'm an acting captain or first officer, it's kind of why isn't the captain, your real
yeah,
captain, making this announcement?
yeah.
And then would take too long to explain that she's injured, blah, blah,
Right.
blah.
And also, maybe in his mind, chain of command, he is the captain right now.
Or
So we'll see. Yeah.
Strictly speaking, yep.
Yes.
yeah. And I also I suspect his motivations in bringing these people aboard too. Like
Okay.
it's
Give me your theory.
better to have your enemies right there so you can pull the rug out from under them, get them off their ships and put them under your control. There's different things as far as that goes,
Well,
but
he definitely sees it as a big win for the Belters
sure.
to be able to offer
Yeah, take
this
advantage of that. Yeah.
assistance to the other parties. Yep.
So I was more struck to, once again, boy, I'm going sunshine on this. When the Martians said, we are not going to attack and that we're offering aid to all. I think the idea is that there was a precedent set when the enemy and my enemy is my friend. We're all in this together.
Okay.
And our common enemy is this magical being that changes speed limits at will. And so we have to all work together.
All
And
right.
also, I am hoping that I'm going to gain some credibility and possibly some good karma for the belt. You say we are not this, but here we are. We have a chance to help people and we are helping you. And I used to have a friend said, if you're doing something for good karma, isn't that actually bad karma? But
Yeah, it is a little, right?
Yeah.
It's
yeah,
like in the good place where once your motivation has changed, you can't get the good points anymore,
yeah,
right?
Yeah. It also reminds me of this plot point reminds me of one of my favorite lines from John Carpenter's Starman when Jeff Bridges says talking about the human race. He says the fascinating thing about the human race is you are often at your best when things are at their worst. And I love that line, and I think that's what we're
Yeah.
seeing here.
yeah, I think so.
Okay. Now you're saying that I'm wrong.
Oh,
That's got
I
nothing to
do
do
go
with
between the two.
that's got nothing to
And
do with what Ashford's doing though. He's just
okay. And there can also be a middle ground where he
yeah,
does see it as an advantage, but he's also
absolutely.
doing it. Okay. So there's all these different permutations. For me, I was going back and forth. I was wondering what his motivations were. And again, that's what makes a good story for me,
yeah,
Yep.
is wanting to know what's happening next and buying into the fact that he could be doing many different things, right? Okay, we've talked a lot about that. Let's go to the Thomas Prince and Anna. Anna and Tess. Is that her name, Tess?
Mm.
Tilly, sorry. Anna and Tilly and Melba. So I got a little prickly in my eyes with that scene between Anna and Tilly in the hallway there where she is holding her hand as she dies. It's very kind of last rites coded. And Tilly in that moment is not only is she blaming Anna for her dying, she is, right? She says
Yep.
it's your
yeah,
fault that I
Yep.
went to talk to her.
A
But
good
she's
deed
also
goes
saying,
unpunished.
right, she's
yeah,
also saying, here's the deal. She's who killed me, and she is after Holden, and she's not gonna stop.
Mhm.
And Anna, in that moment, realizes, okay, Melba's not this unassuming person. She is the bad guy here. And I love that in that moment, she realizes that, okay, I got to go after her. What she's doing is very wrong, and she's not going to stop, and someone has to go stop her. I feel like the whole thing between Anna and Melba has been a little iffy because we've established that Anna is so good at reading people, and she just had no idea what was going on with Melba. But it does also show that Melba slash Clarissa was really good at disguising herself. And that's the difference between her and Aaron Wright, right? Aaron Wright didn't really, couldn't disguise himself very well, at least as far as someone who could read the room, as it were. So we have the whole thing with Anna and Tilly. That's sad. It was so sad. And then her informing Anna about Clarissa, that she's Mal's daughter. Now it's all out in the open, right? So let's talk about that storyline. And again, I want to kind of stop before the whole storyline with Clarissa going to the Rossi. So let's just talk about what's happening on the Thomas Prince. And as you said earlier, Lou, the special effects here were amazing.
Mhm.
Seeing everyone floating, and I mean,
All the
you them vacuuming the blood from the
yeah,
air.
yeah.
Yeah, that was cool. And also them telling us that blood is going to pool without gravity, which it's 100% true. That is exactly what would happen. So there's all that information we're getting just from those scenes on the Thomas Prince. I feel like that's establishing the damage. We're just told about the damage on the Martian ship. We don't see it. And we don't see the carnage on the Behemoth either. All we see are those two people getting hurt. Now on the Thomas Prince, we're seeing how it affects the entire crew of a ship. And I feel like it's all in different stages of what we see. We see nothing on the Martian ship. We see something on the Rossi and what's the other?
The behemoth.
Anyway, the Behemoth, thank you. And we see everything on the Thomas Prince. So there's different levels of carnage here. That I wonder as I watch, I'm so into the special effects stuff. I
Mhm.
wonder how they made everyone float. Were they all on wires? Were they what?
CGI'd in. I don't know.
So, and that's again, it's a good thing that I don't know how they did it. I'm curious, but I don't care as long as it's awesome, which it was. And then the sick bay, and were we told that Anna was a nurse before this?
I believe so, but
Okay,
maybe
maybe in
not. Maybe
passing.
not. Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
not.
So that's good to know that she's a
Hmm.
nurse, whether that comes into play later or not. We do know that she worked in a hospital environment
Yeah,
on Earth, right?
yeah, yeah.
But I didn't know she was a nurse. There's all that. So let's talk about Anna being informed about Clarissa and Tilly and all that. If it's okay, Lou, I want to go to Jesse first so
Sure.
that you can. Okay. Jesse, let's talk to you about that.
I loved Tilly. You're good at this, right?
Mm.
And it did feel like last rites.
Yeah.
It was very lovely. We suspected last week, even before we saw the ending, that this was not going to end well.
Yeah. Although
And
it being from the ship was a twist, right?
yeah,
I just thought Melba was going to kill
yeah,
her,
I thought
but
Melba was going to kill her too.
yeah.
I liked Anna's anger. You can't come back from this. You are going to be held accountable, right? There was no empathy, no kindness. Her friend had died, and I think that partly because of her friend threw a little guilt on there. I think it was mostly her trying to be brave in the as she was dying, and this is your fault. Kind of just
Yep.
trying to throw in some levity. It I thought it was so powerful. I also liked Anna's, yes, you need to help me find her right now. You're not in my chain of command. Who the hell are
Hmm.
you? But just her force. Okay, okay, here, you look for her yourself. I thought was just really well done. It Melba is an interesting character. She is Holden is her white whale, and she
Hmm.
is Ishmael, right?
Yep.
And this. it usually when is that obsessed, it does not work out well for them. That's all I'm going to say, right? We don't know much about this, but it doesn't look good. So I thought that was very interesting. It was seeing a different side. I also did not realize, but didn't her wife call it the clinic? Our clinic was
Yeah,
funded.
yeah,
So that is not oh yeah, she's because of her, she isn't doing a church, it's our clinic. So
right.
that would give us a little bit, oh yeah, that's partly because not only is she a
Yeah,
minister,
it's
but
not a
she's also,
surprise.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It was just, oh, I didn't know that, that
Yeah, I
kind of
didn't
thing.
either.
Sure.
Yeah.
Because a minister can, churches run clinics all the time,
Yeah. And
but it
you know,
makes sense that she's a
yeah.
nurse too.
And you know what else it made me think of is we are currently reading books,
Oh, yeah,
and both the correspondents always go and say, "Can we help with the wounded?" So
always.
that reminded me a little bit of that.
Yeah, it's weird that it lines up like that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think your comparison to Ahab and Moby Dick and all that is really apt because she is unhinged. And that's
Yes.
essentially what the story is with the
In
captain
that
and
is really well said. Yes.
yeah,
Unhinged is exactly correct.
yeah. Okay, so let's talk about that with you, Lou.
Yeah, I think you guys have pretty well mapped out Melba's arc. She's not a deep character in any sense of the word, so she's very obsessed and she's on a revenge arc, and that's pretty well it. So there's not much more to say there. I find the parallels between what happens to Tilly with Anna is very similar to what happened to her with the UN Undersecretary General. She thought that he would she has an optimistic, she believes in the good in people, and it comes to bite her in the ass all the time.
Yes.
It's her major character failing, if you want to call that a failing. But she's always hoping that people will do the right thing, and very often they don't. And no, as I said earlier, no good deed goes unpunished. And while she thought she was giving Tilly sound advice, if she had been a little more focused on who this character Melba character was, she would have possibly could have put two and two together and say, no, that's not a good idea. She's a dangerous person, but she didn't. And Tilly's right in a way that what happened to her is because of what the advice that Anna gave to her. So it's an interesting parallel between what happened to her earlier in the series with what the stuff that happened on Earth and what's happening on the Behemoth. So it's like history repeating itself. And I agree with you, Karen. I thought the special effects were especially impressive in this section of the episode. And probably the most impressive effect for me was when Tilly was dying and she was crying and the tears stayed in her
And the tears
eyes
stayed in her,
and
yeah,
they
that was
didn't run down her
fantastic.
Yeah.
face. Yeah, that was really well done.
I agree. Yeah, and it made for a bigger impact,
Yeah,
I think, because it was like her vision is being obscured by
exactly.
dying.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just so cool. I also feel like her motivation with kind of feeling guilty about what she told Tilly is what caused her to take the leap and go out into the space to get, and I say the space because it's not outer space, it's whatever's going on inside this bubble. For her to put on the suit and go after Clarissa slash Mel, whatever we're calling her right now,
Which
right?
is the biggest hand wave I had to do in this episode is because the speed limit's 28 meters per second, or whatever. How long would it have taken them to go from one ship to the Rocinante? Like, conveniently, it's like in Game of Thrones when they were able to go from one part of the land all the way to the ice thing, or vice versa. I can't remember. Whereas normally that Germany would take months and they did it in an hour or something like that. So it's the
Yeah.
same thing here. I think the only series that can get around that kind of distance thing consistently is Star Trek with transporters, right? But
Yeah.
this is really she got to that ship that quick. Okay, well, that was my biggest hand wave in this whole episode.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel the same way. And Naomi also, she's going from her ship to the Rossi, and
Well,
that
she was a
took
bit
no time
closer at
either.
least, but yeah.
Yeah.
Right, because she was already headed there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a great point. I had not, I just assumed they were closer that, right? Like that. But yeah, now that you bring that up, that's a darn fine
Oh no,
nitpick.
it was in my brain, and
That's it. I'm losing it. A half a point. No.
part
I
of
think you
my
already did that.
part of my rationalization is that they're all being pulled towards the center, so maybe they are a little closer, but I can't imagine they would be so close that they would be able to get there. To to their credit, Naomi gets there first because she was much closer. Because they could have put Clarissa on there laying in wait, which would have been completely unbelievable. But they didn't. They put Naomi there first.
It
So,
just really stood out to me because like that one Martian said, at this speed, it's going to take us 7 months to get back to the gate. So
Yes.
it's
and also we haven't seen Monica and her little cohort when they went out, and they've been out for a day or so, right? They've been out for quite some time. The biographer and the other dude, they were
yeah,
sent to the
yep,
ship.
yep.
So anyway, hand waving that, let's go to the Rossi. And again, at the end of the Rossi storyline, we'll wrap up the Clarissa and Anna storyline. They dovetail quite nicely. Naomi goes on to the Rossi. I got to say, I'm really glad that Alex and Amos are still okay. It it looks like maybe they got hurt, but they seem to be okay as long as Naomi takes them to the sick bay. I loved their interactions. Naomi sees Alex, gets him to the sick bay. She thinks Alex is crazy from whatever happened because he is relaying the fact that Holden and Miller were talking. And she says, Miller. And she just kind of goes, okay, whatever. He's losing it. And then she goes to see Amos, and Amos gives her lip. I'm happy they're welcoming her back, but there's a part of me that's they still probably resent her a little bit. There's not going to be the same level of respect that they give her. It's going to be a slightly different because she started all this by leaving the proto molecule out there in space, right? She goes to the Rossi, she finds them, she takes them to the sick bay. In her head, she's like, whatever's going on, I'll figure it out later. She is upset about Holden being out, that Holden's not there on the ship. There's still going to have to be some resolution compared to that. And then we get the alarm that says someone has boarded the Rossi, and it is Clarissa, who she wants to know where Holden is. And Naomi says, look, I don't know. He's not here. And they get into a fight. That fight was excellent, I thought. Again, really good special effects, whatever they used to do that fight, because it was almost a four-dimensional fight, them being thrown around in this lesser gravity. And then Clarissa, right at the point where she has got the upper hand on Naomi, Anna shows up and hits her with the baton that she took off the guy in sickbay. Oh, and I also wanted to mention, sorry, this is going back to Anna in the sickbay when she's asking for the information. I thought it was really cool, the effect of the person on her little device throwing the information to Anna's device. She kind of
Hmm. Yeah,
up. Yeah, it's just really cool. It struck
yeah,
me as cool in that
yeah,
moment. But anyway,
yeah, it is cool.
let's go back to the Rossi, and I'll talk to you, Jesse, about it.
Yeah, my first thought is, oh, we have a new favorite character that's on the Rossi.
Me too.
Happy joy, happy. And I'm so that makes me happy, right?
We also have Clarissa, though,
Yeah, a little sand in the
and the
ointment.
oyster.
Yes, we'll get a pearl out of it somehow. Yeah. So I just was happy to see that. I was a little surprised that Anna, I shouldn't have been, but that Anna followed. I was like, oh, of course she did.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
this is her first time in space, right? So
yeah,
that takes a lot of chutzpah to go after her.
yes. Yeah, so I was happy.
Anything else?
No.
Okay. Lou?
Yeah, I think the fact that Anna followed her shows her shows a character growth for her because I think under normal circumstances she wouldn't have done that, but because of what happened to Tilly, she realizes, and rightly or wrongly, that she was inadvertently or more proactively involved in what happened to Tilly. So she's trying to right a wrong, even though it probably goes against her belief systems to physically assault somebody else. So I thought that was a character growth moment for her. So that was pretty cool. And I was not sure. I didn't realize that the batons had shocks.
Same.
I just thought they were
Yeah,
for a billy club kind of things. But
I did too. Yeah.
so that was interesting.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
like a
and
taser,
it's
right?
yeah, like a taser. And it was funny, like with Naomi coming aboard the ship and seeing all the stuff floating around and where is everybody? And Alex is they both have bumps on their heads and
Oh, and the music coming out of the headphones, that was
yeah,
great.
yeah, they had the floating
Yeah.
headphones. That was
Mhm.
cool. And like you said, Alex saying that Miller went with or Holden went with Miller.
Yeah. She's like,
Mhm.
what?
What? And I love the fact that Amos said, "Oh, you changed your hair."
Yeah.
I
What?
thought,
Yeah.
I thought that was a I thought that was a great touch.
He's matter of fact. Oh,
Yeah,
okay, your hair's different.
yeah. But
And
it's nothing worse for a husband not to recognize her wife has done something to their hair
It's
when they come
true.
back from the hairdresser.
Very
yeah.
true.
That's a big sin if you don't say something. So I thought that was pretty good. Uh,
And they also write the idea of, are you here to stay?
yeah,
I
Mhm.
love that question.
yeah. And she verbalized what we saw in the last episode that she realized her true family was with the Rossi and not with the Belters.
Exactly.
And that's it.
Okay. That was, oh my goodness. Let me see if I can find what song that was played. It doesn't say, unfortunately.
I think it was
Um,
a Hank Williams tune or something, but
yeah, or
It didn't sound like Hank,
Johnny
but
Cash, maybe.
I don't know.
Same. I don't know either. But it was a great little nod to him loving country
Yeah,
music.
we have established he loves country music.
Okay, so
nobody's perfect.
fine. Hey now, I like all music, and that old school country is good.
Yes.
So anyway, now last but not least, Bobby and Holden. Holden comes to and Jib starts talking gibberish, and Bobby says, "What happened?" And he says that he saw the end of everything. So
Dun dun
I
dun.
am definitely I am on tenterhooks here with trying to find out what's going on here. What did he see really? We saw what he saw, but what is he interpreting there?
Yeah.
And to me, I am still not 100% sure as to what exactly he saw. I'm not sure if that's where we're supposed to be with this or not. So, Jesse, what about you?
Yeah, I know Lou told us to go back and watch that dream sequence, the LSD sequence, and I
Hmm.
did. Still left me confused. So, yeah, I thought it was, there's not much I can share till we see what's going on next. I don't have any thoughts on it, except I'm glad that two of our characters are at least back together. But yeah, I got nothing. I'm not sure where we're
Okay.
going with this.
So we're in the
Yeah,
same boat.
yeah. It just, once again, it is, we're going back to the magical proto-nautical, and
Right.
I don't know what this is supposed to be, right?
Okay. Okay. How about you, Lou? Are you going to
Well,
clear things up for us or no?
no.
Okay.
It was just a hook for the next episode.
Okay.
Okay.
So we're in the right place then.
Yep.
Yes, it sounds like
Yep.
we are.
Okay.
Good.
Awesome. All right. So if there's nothing else that you guys want to talk about, anything? We all good?
Hmm.
Yeah,
Looks
no,
like we're
good.
all good.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk about ratings. How about you, Jesse?
Yeah, I like I said, I like this one a little bit better than last. If I was gonna just do the sequence of drummer and
Sure.
yeah, Asher, I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Hmm,
But instead I'm gonna give it 8.5 out of 10 mutual singing duets.
very good. I am also going to give it 8.5. I'll give it 8.5. Okay, I had something in my head and 8.5 revival paddles.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
How about you, Lou?
I'm gonna give it 8.5 teardrops stuck on my eyes.
Oh,
Oh, nice.
I was gonna say broken hand terminals. That's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
Okay, good.
So there's that too.
Yep.
But 8.5 no matter what. So we're all set, ready for the next part of this saga. We're ramping up for the end of the season. We have 2 more episodes to go.
I was so little surprised about that. I said, that's cool.
Yeah, I think we're gonna end on something that is somewhat resolved, but we still have a lot to learn at the
Hmm.
end of this season. At least that's where my mind is going. Okay, so with that, you can email us at jklmediareviews@gmail.com. Where can people find you, Jesse?
I am at media at Jesse Jackson DFW. You can hear me talking music on Set Lusting Bruce. And you can hear me currently. We are doing House of the Dragon on Small Council Matters, and we are taking a week off, even though it's the season finale because of travel schedules. But we'll be back in 2 weeks to wrap up House of the Dragon. And I hope if you are a Game of Thrones podcast fan, you check out our discussions.
Okay, thank you. And you, Lou?
You could find us or find me on the JKL Media flagship YouTube channel where we're doing obviously The Expanse, waiting for the return of Pluribus and Severance. We also do one-offs or limited series there. There's a pretty extensive back catalog of stuff there, with the exception of Babylon 5, which is on my personal channel, Lou's Reviews. Just simply too large, 5 seasons plus an animated movie for me to want to migrate over to the other channel. Call me lazy. I guess that's what
No,
I
not
am.
at all.
But you can find that stuff there, as well as I have writer interviews and Stephen King podcast. And on Twitter and Blue Sky, you can find me at Lou W. Sitzma, Sytsma.
Awesome. And I am at Aleveria, Aleveria on social media, and my blog is allestuff.com. And with that, I'm going
I'm
to,
sorry.
I'm
One last
sorry.
thing I forgot.
Sure.
I was asked to be on another podcast, shocking, called The Dis List. It's part of the Deck the Hallmark podcast families. And the premise is that you show up with a list, a top 10 list, and the two hosts debate it. And then they remove two and add two and allowed to make two changes on the order of the list. And then as the guest, you have to pick which of the two restructured lists you like better. And I
Okay.
did TV Detectives
Oh,
that came out
awesome.
this week, and I got a lit.
Castle?
I will, spoilers, yes, he did make the list. And I got a little bit of crap of where I put Columbo on my list.
Oh my goodness. He should be way up high, at least in my mind.
That is exactly what they said too. And
Okay. And
yeah,
you didn't.
that is correct.
How about
So,
Rockford? Was Rockford on there?
he was on there as
Awesome.
yes. So,
Okay.
yeah. So, yeah, TV Detectives, the Dis List. It was a fun discussion, and I got my butt handed to me on a couple of picks. And I will tell you that the two hosts, their lists were better than mine.
Oh
Yeah.
no.
No, it was good in good way. In
Okay.
other words, took out two of my picks, put in two, and both of the two they added, I think were really, it was worthy.
Okay, awesome. I'll have to listen.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay. So with that, we're gonna keep the drum going
Yep.
and keep the gravity to
Drum
one
roll.
third. The drum roll, yay. Great. And we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye-bye. And scene.
Yay.
The proceeding has been a JKL Media production.